Okay, welcome in to D&D's two-man game, episode 11. That's right, we're still continuing. Please scream as loud as you can. Clap, 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 everybody. I am your host, David, along with my great friend and co-host, Dom. Dom, how are we doing on this Tuesday evening?
I'm good. I'm
That sounds
good.
about right.
I thought screaming. I was going off. I was taking your lead, just like coming in
Just
really hot.
big energy.
Big energy. I'm doing great. I am doing great because I've been watching preseason basketball before this, so that was very fun to watch.
That's right. That's right. It's basketball time. Maybe
It's
that's why I'm so
basketball time.
energized.
Yeah, I'll just randomly scream that exact same tone
People are gonna be
throughout this
listening to this
episode.
like the first episode they've ever listened to. They'll be like, "What the hell is wrong
Why
with
does
these
Dom
guys?"
scream? Because it's funny. Come on, guys, it's funny. Laugh
Laugh.
with me. Laugh with me. Anyways, I am doing great. How are you doing, Damon?
I'm doing good. Doing good. It's a good day. The weather in here in Austin is getting a little nicer, a little cooler lately, which has been
We
nice.
love that. We love that.
I went to a wedding yesterday. The ceremony was outdoors, and I was like not burning to death. So that
Awesome.
was awesome. Um, Shout out Jason and Jordan, married.
Shout out. Congratulations.
Um, Congratulations. Listen to the podcast to know you got shouted out to the podcast.
Yeah, we're
Um,
happy for y'all.
Speaking of,
Okay.
make sure you are liking our videos, liking them, commenting, subscribing, downloading them on Spotify. YouTube and Spotify are the only platforms as of now.
And sharing it.
And sharing it. Tell your friends, tell your family, say, Mom, guess what? You want to hear two guys scream? Here you go.
That's one guy.
Ah! There's a little
There's
basketball
two.
in there too.
There's
There's a little
two.
basketball.
There's some
There's a little basketball.
basketball. There's
Um,
a little basketball in all of us.
I'm curious, Dom. What are you hiding there under that jacket? I got the Rockets Skyline Westbrook. That's what the zero is. Westbrook shirt. It says Westbrook on the back too. That's what I got today. What do you got? What do you have for us?
I got, in honor of me watching preseason basketball, I got my Lakers shirt, one of my many Lakers shirts.
Does it
It
say
just
any
says
court?
any court, anytime is what it says. And that's right. That's a challenge to anyone listening to this. Any court, anytime. I'll be there.
When you were here on tour, we didn't get to play, which I was sad about.
Yeah, it was also like 95 degrees, but
I true ballers will go out there at any weather.
my I don't know if I ever told, like, my dad will go when it's like 100 plus degrees.
Dude, your dad plays basketball in long sleeve thermal shirts and jeans. He's insane.
Yeah, well, I definitely have played here in the valley when it's like, I've played in 113-degree weather before because I just had to get my hoop on, dude.
That's why you have a sugar-free grape Powerade.
Oh my god.
Not a sponsor. Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor, but we got to talk about that at some point. We just got to talk about like best basketball drinks.
Oh,
or like
that would be a great tier list. That'd be a great
Yeah,
video.
that's good. Okay, right.
It's coming to you. Keep listening to our episodes.
Yeah.
But
we'll get there.
We have several other rankings to get through still.
Yeah. But yeah, so I wore the Lakers shirt. It's, I think, my first Lakers shirt I'm wearing on the pod, just because
is it really?
I think so. Yeah, because I watched them play the Nets yesterday, and I was
gonna
like,
go on like a Lakers streak.
Nah, probably not. But maybe when I feel like it, I will be wearing Lakers gear.
And
as
that
season
episode 5, you wore your baby blue Westbrook jersey.
Yeah, because we were talking about there was a reason, because I was going to wear Sabonis. I have a Sabonis Pacers jersey, but I wore that one because we were
for point guards, maybe.
Yeah, it was for point guards. That's what it was. We were doing point guards, so I wore that. But I have I have a baby blue jersey for Damon of the exact same, but I've been having it for about a year now. I just haven't given it to him back
forgetting to bring it to me.
Well, now you're in Austin, so it'll be easier.
Yeah.
So.
What? Huh? You went to where
no,
I
because
was
it's at my mom's in Austin.
Oh,
that's why. Yeah.
See.
But anyway, so that's why I'm wearing the Lakers shirt. Just now, I was watching some Nuggets Suns preseason, which we'll back in a little bit. but we should recap the last episode real
Yes.
quick before we dive into more new topics.
Yeah, we took a break on rankings last time. I know the people have been dying for rankings. We've done point guard, shooting guard, small forwards. We will do power forwards later on in this episode. That's what the title is going to be. So you probably already know that if you clicked on the episode because the title was there. But last episode we reacted to the Dame and Drew Holiday trades. Dame to the Bucks, Drew Holiday to the Celtics. We kind of reacted to both of those and broke it down what we thought, of the teams, who we thought won, all that good stuff. So go listen if you didn't listen. We also talked about Media Day because there's some good Media Day quotes, Jimmy Butler's hair, all that good stuff.
Always some fun stuff going on.
But before we get to rankings, what are we going to talk about?
Before we get to rankings, I think we should talk a little bit about the preseason. So NBA basketball is back.
We're back.
We're back, but it's not to the play that we want. Like I said, I just mentioned I'm watching Nuggets Suns. None of the big three for the Suns are playing.
Right.
So I got to see some good minutes from Saban Lee.
Oh, do you know who he played for before the Suns?
He's on a two-way contract now.
Pop quiz. Do you know who he played for?
Yeah.
I'll give you a division.
Give me
Will that help?
Central.
Yeah. Central Division.
Bulls.
Nope. He was on the Pistons.
That's what I said. Pistons. Well, I mean, well, what I wanted to mention is one of our favorite players,
Jay Huff.
Allen.
Oh.
No, I actually haven't seen Jay Huff. No, I was
like, he's on the Nuggets, I think, right?
I have not seen him. I did not see him play yet, but he is on the Nuggets.
Yes.
They're running some minutes with Naj. It's Nnagi is his name.
Zeke Nnaji.
Nnaji, yeah. So he was running some minutes. Jokic was playing quite a bit too, and Jamal. The only one not playing was Michael Porter Jr. So it's not a perfect game.
Doesn't work. So
yeah, but I was gonna say one of our favorite players, Grayson Allen, is lighting it up. I gotta say, the first preseason game he made, I believe it was 6 threes, and he made I think 18 points in 18 minutes, something like that.
Can't wait for the Suns to have 3 All-Stars and Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Grayson
Allen. Me too. And then even this game, like he's kind of like taking over. It was very interesting to see. But I mean, I'm just excited. I was watching, like I said, Lakers basketball. LeBron was on the court. AD, Austin Reeves, D'Lo, Brooklyn Nets. I mean, they had like Mikal Bridges was playing. Cam Johnson was not. Cam Thomas had some good minutes. Him and Austin Reeves did a little bit of a three-pointer, like kind of heat check to each other, like in the third quarter, back and forth.
Jan Waiters, Tim Hardaway Jr. style.
I was literally about to say. I was going to say that. That was a deep cut, but it was like that.
You know.
If you know, you know. But that was fun to watch. Have you watched any preseason basketball yet?
Okay, here's my take on the preseason for every sport. Basketball, football, you just don't learn anything. Like, I feel like because the sport, like, we're getting excited about it, like these storylines will happen. People are like, oh my God, like you just said, Grayson Allen's lighting it up. Oh, he's going to be awesome this season. He's just going to be like a role player.
Yeah.
And that happens in like every sport. But I will say the one game I really wanted to talk about that I did watch a little bit of that I thought was really exciting was Spurs Thunder.
Oh, I actually heard about that. Yeah. What do you want to talk about specifically?
Wemby versus Chet. Was fun. I think Wemby played the 4 like the whole game, which is interesting.
Did they have the 5?
I think he's gonna play the 4 in the season as well. So like, they don't want to run him at center because they don't want him to get beat up, I guess.
Who was the 5 for the Spurs?
I think they had Zach Collins in for a bit, and then like Charles Bassey or someone like that was running like
one name center. I barely know, and another name I don't know at all. Cool.
Yeah, and then Chet was running the 5 for the Thunder, but they both like Wemby had like 10 points in the first quarter and like 3 blocks, and then Chet had like 14 points and 7 rebounds. All like in the first quarter, and then they both ended up with like a decent stat line, but it just seemed really exciting. And I don't know if you've seen the clip, and I can't like screen share the NBA clip because that's how you get copyrighted by the NBA.
Yeah.
But there's a clip, you should definitely go look it up. People that are listening, where Wemby like has the ball, there's like a spin and an up and under like layup, but he's like 10 feet away from the goal. like around 3 guys makes it. Have you seen that clip?
I did see that
The clip was
today. Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I saw that a lot, and also Wimby like posterizing Chet, but that was like, I don't know. It was a
Yeah, he's
fast
7'4".
break, and also Chet was like, I don't know. It was a fast break, and he was ahead anyway. So it's just funny how he like dunked and then like flexed, and I'm like,
Flexed on him.
brother,
Yeah.
it's I think some of that goes a bit too far, but I know what you mean. Like that was a fun duel. It was a close game too. It was
Yeah.
like a 2 point, 1 point game, something like that. And I know they both ended with the 41 points combined. I think Chet at 21 and Wimby at 20. So,
Yeah.
very cool to see. I'm assuming Thunder didn't have Shea playing or like Giddy.
No, not when I was watching. They're really focusing on the young guys,
Yeah,
young
and
guys, because I
I
guess
know,
Jay and
I
Giddy
know,
are also young.
yeah, I know. J Dub played, and he
Yeah.
he had a he had a he had a nasty dunk too. That was pretty cool to see. Um, but yeah, does that make you more excited for seeing them in the regular season, and then like anything about Rookie of the Year already, or like what are your
Um,
thoughts?
if I think of Rookie of the Year, I feel like those 2 guys are at the top.
Yeah,
Because of course it's Chet's second year, but he was injured all last year, so he still
yeah,
qualifies. Um, so yeah, I'm excited to see how both of them play. But for both of them, especially, the first concern every time I'm watching is like, please don't fall the wrong way and like break your foot and then you're out for the whole season because you're a
for
giant person.
real.
Um,
Yeah, and Chet, I mean, he's the one he injured himself last year preseason, right? That's what
he
happened,
he he injured
or
himself
summer
in
league.
the Drew League. He was
Oh, that
playing
wasn't
in the Drew League in like Seattle and injured himself.
okay. Well, yeah, it's definitely good to see them playing. Hopefully, like I want to see a full season of them. That'll be
Yeah,
really fun. Maybe you catch Spurs Thunder in San Antonio, dude. Be a
that
good
would be
one.
cool. That'd be very cool. I definitely
Yeah,
like Spurs Rockets. I feel like I have to go to, right? Like
yeah.
that
Come
feels like
on,
a
you got
requirement.
to. Yeah. Did
Um,
you watch any old faces in new places like Chris Paul Warriors or Bradley Beal Suns, anything
no,
like that?
no, I'm
You
not
know
even
the highlights.
I'm not even like super excited about like those 2 examples are like 2 teams I don't really even like, It's like
Yeah, yeah.
and again, it's like we'll see how it actually looks once the season rolls around because like right now I think they're just kind of trying out whoever.
Hmm.
I will say though, I've fallen for this trap before. Ben Simmons looked pretty good in the preseason.
Hey, he guess what? He had a wide open dunk and he didn't pass it.
Uh,
That's pretty cool.
if that guy's gonna play okay basketball, that could be exciting.
The Nets, I mean, the Nets are probably they might be at the top of like at the East, like teams I want to watch this year, just because like I like McHale and Cam and both Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas. Hopefully he gets some minutes.
I want the Nets to
Uh,
do really, really, really bad this year. Do you know why?
oh, why? Because they have a Rockets pick or
Because
something.
the Rockets have their pick
Yeah.
unprotected.
Well, I want good basketball, Damon. Okay.
Trade them
I
all. Trade McHale. Well, I guess the issue is like because they don't have their pick. It's like, what's the point of being bad? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So and I'm all for that. We'll see. I mean, the East is kind of stacked. We'll talk more about like in our season preview, each
yes,
team. But I just wanted to say like I watched them. It was weird seeing Chris Paul and Steph Curry on the same uniform.
that is weird. That is a
Uh,
little weird. They feel like
Bradley
they've been rivals for
Beal,
so long.
yeah, Bradley Beal with no like Wizards gear at all. I don't think I caught anyone else, but
You're gonna see Dame in the Bucks jersey. That'll throw you off.
I did see that. I don't think he didn't hasn't played in the Bucks jersey
Yeah,
yet.
I think it was just like media day or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, but I did see that. That was trippy. But I did see right before we started this podcast that Dylan Brooks got ejected 5 minutes into the Rockets' first preseason game
Yes,
that they
sir.
won. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dylan Brooks. That's why we brought you in here to get ejected, so our
Yeah,
other players don't get ejected.
exactly. But I thought that was really funny. And Rockets won. So because he got ejected, that's why they won.
That's right. 1-0, baby.
Want to
In the
know?
preseason. In the
We're going all the way. We're going to the finals. Rockets
We're
going
not
to
losing another game this season.
but yeah, so that was preseason, and still going. I'm going, to the very first game of the season with the Clippers
That's gonna be
Blazers. That's going
so
to be.
cool. That's gonna be
I'm
awesome.
so excited. Hopefully they
I
don't have too much Clippers like stuff for free because I'm gonna have to take it, but I don't want it. You know.
I'm gonna look at Spurs tickets right now.
Yeah, you should. I know I was looking a little bit during the holidays, or at least in November, Timberwolves and Spurs. I was talking about maybe going with you. I don't think I can anymore, but you should go see my boy Ant.
Why can't you go?
I am going to be in Galveston. So
Uh,
yeah,
guess
yeah,
we'll just
yeah,
have to go
yeah.
to a Rockets game instead.
Yeah. Well, at least for the definitely Christmas, we'll go to a Rockets game for sure.
When does the season start?
October 20. I know I'm on the 25th. So possibly the 23rd or 24th, like the first day.
Brother, October 27th, Spurs Rockets.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
In San Antonio?
yeah.
Dude,
That's
go.
their
It's a
that's their
Friday.
second game. Their first game's against the Mavericks
Dude, that's also a good one. San Antonio or no, in
in
Dallas?
San Antonio, yeah.
Brother, those are both good games.
Oh, I'm looking at these tickets right now. $37.
For which one? Rockets?
Rockets, yeah.
Oh, Steel, dude. Steel. Pretty good. Think about it. Buy them after the pod. Hey, we're potting here. Hey, hey, we're potting.
I feel like the tickets are going to be so much more expensive because of Wemby as well,
Yeah, I know. I
which
think,
is annoying.
yeah, last year I went to a Spurs game against the Pelicans. I went with my mom, and I think tickets were like $20
Right.
tops. Because they really had no one last year that anyone was like excited about. Pelicans were good, fun to watch. But anyways, that was last year. We're all about this upcoming year. You know
2023,
why? You know
2024. Why?
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 Because we are ranking power forwards.
Right, we're doing power forwards today.
Oh,
Sinners next time, unless some crazy news breaks that we have to talk about that takes 2 hours. And then after that, I think what Dom and I have decided is that we will do an award show where we predict like standings and MVP and coach of the year, six man, all that good stuff. And then I know Dom really wants to do a city jersey ranking.
we gotta
Whenever
wait
I
for
feel like
them.
we still have to wait for
Yeah.
them all to come out. So
We need like a graphic so people can
I,
also follow along, because it is like I don't love it when I see it on other people reviewing it and it's like they're just talking about it. It's like I want to see it.
I
You know
feel
what I
like
mean?
it'll be similar to how we're ranking the players, where I'll share my screen
Yeah.
and we can
Yeah,
kind of
for
just go
sure.
through it that way.
Jersey by
Um,
jersey. But yeah, I think that's a
and I don't
great
know,
fun.
like that might not even take a whole episode because it's like, oh, I like the jersey. Yeah.
Oh, I'll find things to say. Don't worry.
Fair, 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 fair,
I'm
fair,
a
fair.
bit of a fashion guy. I grew up watching Project Runway. What can I say? I know what I'm doing.
Tyra Banks. Is that who that is?
No, that's Tim Gunn. Make it work.
All right.
Okay.
I'm sharing. I'm sharing. Do you see it?
I do see it. Beautiful, beautiful.
Do. Hold on. I need to put something on my other screen to make my face not so
So
dark.
we can see you. Okay.
This is my classic strategy is to look up a picture of a white square and then zoom in on it really bright. So it's like, oh, you
Beautiful.
definitely see me.
It
There it
makes you
is.
look so good. You look so good right now, man.
Thanks.
Proud of
Thanks.
you.
All right. So we got a graphic in front of us, power forwards for the 30 NBA teams this year. In our previous graphics, if you've been following along, sometimes we disagree with who's on here, and we'll have a couple of those today, I'm sure, and we'll still use that person's picture, but we're not going to go find another picture or do all that. We'll just kind of put that person's picture in there as a placeholder. We have S tier being the elite of the elite, and then down from there, A, B, C, D, and then F. And again, we say this every time, but these are our opinions, and they're like subject to change, but also they're not our opinions of these players. We're just categorizing them and starting power forwards. So if you're an F tier starting power forward, you're probably still an awesome NBA player, but in terms of the other 29 power forwards there, it's like you lack a little bit.
That's exactly. I was gonna say that. Just because you're in the F tier does not mean you are a bad basketball player. The fact that you're in the NBA at all is
Right.
amazing. It's like I'm talking to the NBA player. Just hey,
I
guys, take
hey
this with a grain of salt, man. Don't come at me,
hey
man.
Javon Carter. I know you're
Just,
watching. I know we ranked you as an F tier point guard. You're not an F
don't,
tier NBA player.
dude. You're a good man. We like you, Javon. We like you. But exactly echoing what he said. We also will have a little bit of a just a little bit of a discussion about each
Right.
player, why we think they belong in a tier, and also because I like to do it in no particular order. We're just going to go in the order at the bottom. That we can't skip around and skip to the person you want us to talk about.
Guess you gotta
But
listen to it all.
I guess you gotta listen to it all. And without much further ado, if you don't mind, I can go first. I know you like the second guy a lot.
Okay.
So
I did want to say real quick something I forgot.
yes, please do.
We are not reflecting on last season. We are projecting for how we think these players will play this season. I think that's really important because a lot of times people are like, "Oh, this guy he averaged 25, 10, and 5, A tier." It's like, oh, okay, yeah, you can read the stats and do that, but we like to project for the future and think, is this player going to jump? Are they going to kind of stay static? Are they going to regress a little bit maybe due to their new role or
Absolutely.
something? So I think that's important because a lot of this is predicting, and then we're saving these, and then we'll come back to it at the end of the season and see how we did. Dom and I have had a couple of disagreements already, and we're like, oh, I can't wait to look back on this. Like I think for point guards like Darius Garland, I think I wanted to rank really high. Austin Reeves for shooting guards, I know you wanted to rank really high. I don't know. I can't think of like a small forward that we had
I
like
think
big disagreement on.
Well, it's funny because small forwards was definitely when we delineated. We didn't do like five
Oh,
perfect
I do like
people
5
per
per,
tier.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think that one we were on the same page more or less. I know we had some moving around, but let's see. I'm very interested to see how this one goes because
yes.
And I know everyone. There's only one player I didn't know, but we cleared that up before we started. So
And
yeah.
the other thing, we're assuming
Yes.
health. We are
Yes,
assuming
absolutely.
health. We're assuming, we can't predict trades and stuff, even though some of these players may be traded. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, we'll probably mention that. Usually when we talk about a player, we like to talk about just their role in the team and
right.
Where they might end up if things happen. But without much further ado, I'm just gonna get the ball rolling.
Do it.
Catman, Karl Anthony Towns, Timberwolves is our first guy up.
Really a center, but
really a center, but you got Rudy Gobert on the team. And last year the Timberwolves were a little bit disappointing. They did make the playoffs, but definitely, after everything they gave up for Rudy, they expected to do a lot better. I think they're going to be. I think watched a little bit of Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert in the preseason. Just a little bit of their chemistry. It looks like it's a lot better already. And Cat, phenomenal. I mean, great player. Like stretch four. Maybe I would wish maybe he would muscle in a bit more, but he really can score at the rim. He can make his shots. Has a foul trouble problem, but as long as he kind of controls that, I mean, talent alone, he's an A tier for me. Yeah. Yeah. Is anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the list here, I think A tier is a good starting point, and I think he has an argument that, and he said this before himself, where he thinks he's like one of the best big men ever shooting wise. And I'm like, yeah, I definitely can see that because the volume at which he shoots it, and the efficiency that he shoots it at. It's weird to have him in the power forward tier. He does play power forward for that team, but like I feel like he's so unlike a lot of the guys we're going to talk about today. But just on talent alone, I can definitely see A tier, even with the down year last year. I feel like Ant is kind of taking over that team, but I feel like he can be a really good complementary player, and talent, I would say, definitely should have him in the A tier, assuming all goes well this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Timberwolves didn't do too much this offseason, but I mean, keeping Cat around, keeping Anthony Edwards. Yeah, it'll be definitely exciting to watch them this year. They'll be a fun team to watch, and Cat's part of that. He's a good player, great player, fun to watch.
Yeah. All right. Next, we're going to talk about Spicy P, Pascal Siakam of the Toronto Raptors. I really like Pascal Siakam. Like you mentioned earlier, I think he's underrated to an extent. In 2019 on the Raptors, he was like the second best player on that team that won the finals. He's been All NBA a couple times. He's been All Star a couple times. He's had up and down seasons the last couple years. But I do think he's talented. I've spent time talking in previous podcasts. I don't remember which ones exactly about how I thought the Raptors should have went into like rebuild mode and traded their assets because like they lost Fred VanVleet for no reason. or not for no reason, but like for nothing. Like they didn't get anything out of that. And I think Pascal's in the last year of his deal, so I'm a little worried that the same thing is going to happen. But talent wise, I feel I think he's like right up around 30 now. I don't know, I don't think he'll have any sort of significant regression because he's not super old yet. Um, but I think talent wise, he would be in like the same tier as Cat. I think he's a better player than Cat. I think because he's really good. He's a really good defender, which I value, of course.
Wow. Okay.
And like he's been in more All-Star games than Cat, I think. He's been more All NBA teams. So it's
Also has a championship.
has a championship. Yeah, I think he's like ideally he's probably like your third best player in like a championship team,
Yeah.
like
I
in like
agree
a
with.
Chris Middleton kind of role.
Yeah, that's actually a great comparison. I like Pascal Siakam a lot. He is a player that surprises me. I think he is, like you said, underrated. No one really mentions him when they talk about, power forwards, and I think it's because a lot of people don't talk about the Raptors.
Right.
And that's not a knock on him because he is very good. Every time I watch him, he spins into and makes the shots. He draws the fouls. He grabs the steals. He always kind of like is more surprising than I expect. And it's just
Right.
because people don't talk about him. Um, I might have said B tier, but I know you watch him a lot more. A tier is fine with me. We're gonna be moving things around.
Yeah.
But Pascal is great. I'm curious to see, like you mentioned about this contract, like if he's gonna stick around with the Raptors or if they trade him or resign. I mean, who knows? Like if they gotta hit the reset button, they better do it sooner rather than later. Um,
Yeah, and we'll
but
definitely, like you said, we'll definitely move people around throughout this as we kind of put more names on the list. And
yeah, yeah. But talent alone, I mean, he is probably the best player on the Raptors right now. So
yeah, I'd
yeah,
say so.
you could maybe argue like no one. He's the best player on the Raptors right now. I said it and I stick by it. Okay. Cool. So next we got John Collins. This is an
John
interesting one.
Collins.
So
Yeah,
this is the first one that we're going to talk about that's in a new place, new
new
environment.
place. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Playing with the Jazz. Also, I don't know if you know this. He is a Utah native. He's from
I
Utah.
did not know that.
Yeah, I was reading some stuff about like best states with like the best players historically,
Hmm.
and John Collins was listed under Utah. I was like, oh my god, so that's cool. He gets to go home.
Right.
Um, so John Collins, bit of a down year last year with the Atlanta Hawks. I know that their Eastern Conference run, he was really good. He was playing defense really well. He was making his threes. He was stretching the floor. That kind of regressed the last 2 years. Can't really make his threes as well. His defense has also fallen off a bit, but considering a new environment, and John Collins is always a lob threat. He's very athletic. He's still youngish. He's like 27, 28.
Yeah, he might not
Uh,
be that old.
yeah, he's probably maybe even younger than that. But just for John Collins' athletic ability alone, I don't want to rank him too high because he's in a new place. It's kind of hard to imagine what's going to happen. He's 26. Um, I feel like high D tier.
Okay.
Just because I'm looking at the other guys, I have a feeling he might kind of linger in the D tier. If I was, if it was me making my own list, not really thinking about it, maybe C, but definitely like high D tier is what I think. What about you?
Yeah. Honestly, the first thing that came to my mind was C tier. I think John Collins is a pretty good NBA player. I think
Yeah.
he didn't get a ton of attention in Atlanta because it's like the Trae Young show all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, that conference finals run they had a couple of years ago, he was like big asset for that. Was playing really good defense on some of the big guys, which has been a problem throughout his career. So it was good that he kind of showed it in one of the bigger moments. He was on the trade block for what felt like forever. For what I know, like originally before he got his contract extension, he was like unhappy with the numbers they were offering him, and then finally he got something he liked. Um, yeah, I think like when I look at the tiers, I feel like C tier is like average starting player, and I feel like John Collins fits that. I know like previously we've used D tier as like a almost as like the projection tier for like first or second year players that we don't really know enough about. Um, and looking at the list, there's a lot of talent on here, so I can definitely see like, oh yeah, John Collins should be here because there's so many guys that are
Yeah.
better than him. Um, so we'll play with it. He may end up in the C tier later. I don't know. We'll see what happens when we put more guys on here.
Yeah, I'm being a bit safe with D tier, but I know like he's definitely like if it's D's top D tier.
Right,
But
right,
yeah,
right.
he is a great. I love watching his. He's very fun to watch. I mean, his lob threat and his dunking is always fun. Very
Yeah.
athletic, and I know like I watched a little bit of interview, and he already stated that like there's a lot less ego in Utah, so I think he'll just have more fun playing
Yeah,
basketball.
I
So
think that was specifically addressed to Trey Young.
yeah, I mean, who else would it be? So but anyways, excited for him. Excited to see what the Utah Jazz do this year.
What I'm not excited about is talking about this next player.
I know it's tough. It's tough.
And I was like, when I looked at this list originally, I was like, really? And I was like, yeah, I guess. I guess PJ Washington started at this position last year, but now that he's back with the team, he'll be suspended for 10 games, I think. But Miles Bridges, probably will slide into the four, assuming it's LaMelo, Terry, Gordon Hayward, and then you have Bridges here at the four. A couple of years ago, before the whole domestic abuse thing, he was like their second best player. I think he averaged like 20 points a game. Um, Super athletic, as a basketball player, he's really good. There's nothing you could say about his basketball talent. Obviously, the off court stuff is not great, and we don't like to like we don't like to support those players. I guess I should say. Like, I don't
Yeah,
love
yeah.
talking about this. But just talking about basketball talent, I think Miles Bridges, at his peak a couple years ago, he was probably a little better than John Collins. And I feel like part of me thinks like the way he carries himself and his attitude, he's going to come back, off of this thing that has cast a really poor image on him, and he's going to like what I assume is he's going to like put his head down and try to be an awesome basketball player. So I would say, he's like above John Collins in the D tier or like a C tier. What do you think?
I would say above John Collins at D tier because I was actually going to say that Miles Bridges and John Collins' game reminds me a lot of each other's.
Uh,
Except Miles Bridges had a bit more of a chance to kind of shine, like he was more talked about.
he's more of a
Um,
creator, I think.
yeah, and he can also create a bit more. John Collins definitely needs someone to kind of lead him, to guide him.
Mhm.
But just athleticism alone is what I was thinking about. I think he will also, like you mentioned, just kind of put his head down, try. I mean, to just play the game, stick to basketball. It makes me think about like when Kobe went through like all the allegations and the courtroom stuff in the early 2000s. I read a biography about it, about like Kobe Bryant, not just that, but when he was going through, that kind of stuff, he just focused on basketball, and hopefully, all that kind of stuff doesn't happen again or anymore, and he just sticks to basketball. And I could see him above John Collins though in the D tier. Yeah,
Yeah. Next, one of our
dude,
homies.
one of our best friends, a friend of the pod. Shout out, Jaren Jackson Jr., Trey J.
USA FIBA
Um,
basketball underperformer.
Legends, underperforming legend. Um, Jaren Jackson Jr. DPOY last year.
Right.
Great defender, great lob threat, athleticism. Just a great basketball player. Definitely also really fun to watch. Also really nice guy. When we met him, he was very, very nice to talk to. Took a picture with us and signed our hats, as you could see. This upcoming year, actually funny, I could probably mention this. I might have
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah,
it
yeah.
in the summer league, but I asked him when we met him, I said, well, you're gonna get DPOY. I congratulated him first. I said,
Right.
congratulations on DPOY. Said, thanks, man, appreciate it. And I asked him, are you gonna do it again this year? And he laughed and said, no, man, they're not gonna give that to me twice, like two times in 2 years. But I challenge you, Jaren,
We know you're
to
listening.
earn we know you're listening, to earn it again, because you had the possibility. I mean, I remember there's a time you were out for a little bit, and Damon had you on his team, and then he put you back in the starting lineup, and you got 7 blocks in the first game you were back. So I remember that, and I'll never
Fantasy
forget
basketball.
because it was against me. But his ability is great. Maybe like if the only thing lacking from his game is like stretching the floor, like he
He can
doesn't.
shoot. He can shoot. He's an ugly shot, but he
But it
can
does
shoot.
like I'm curious because like I never hear people talking about it. I don't witness it. I feel like I don't see it. Like you're pulling up his stats, like 3-point
Yeah.
percentage. I feel
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
like in the 26% range.
Okay.
If that's gonna be my guess.
Jared Jackson Jr.
Um,
last year
yeah.
shot 2.5 threes a game, 36%. Actually, I lied. That was his rookie year. I was reading it backwards. Last year, he shot 5 threes a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 threes a game, 35%.
Okay, a little
That's
bit
pretty
below league
good.
average. That's pretty good. Okay, so I was wrong. You got me. I was wrong. But again, like not a big part of his game. It's definitely the defending and things of, kind of things down low. And I would put him just because I'm looking at other players, I would maybe put him A tier, like high A tier. But yeah, I would say A tier. What
Yeah,
about
so
you?
we're projecting, right? And we're projecting how are they going to perform this year? I think the Grizzlies are going to come in with a chip on their shoulder, as they typically have seemed to do the last couple of years. No more Dylan
Mm-hmm.
Brooks antics. They got knocked out in the first round by a lower seed in the Lakers. Um, Jared Jackson, Josh suspended as well. Jared Jackson, I think, is going to have to carry some of the load. Him and Bane, I think, are probably going to be the primary two guys that take some of that responsibility until Ja comes back.
Marcus Smart.
Really like the defense. Two DPOYs on that team. The last two
Yeah.
are on the same team now. Um, and something to mention last year is foul trouble. Like
Right.
he kept getting a lot of foul trouble, and would not be able to play as many minutes. Hopefully, he can fix that this year. But I think like it's really tough because we have Cat and Pascal on the A tier already, and it's like I feel like he's right there, in that kind of
Yeah.
all-star, all-NBA caliber. Not quite S tier, but I think B tier would be too low. Um,
Yeah.
if
We'll
I'm
start
looking
feeling.
at these players, I
Yeah.
I don't. I feel like I like him more than Cat just because of the defensive upside.
Yeah.
Um,
Same.
but yeah, I feel like that's three A tiers and two D tiers so far is crazy.
Yeah. It'll even out. I mean, I'm looking ahead a little bit and I see how it evens out. But I'm interested about what you're going to say about this next guy.
Sure. That's Mr. Zion. I think in like he's had one NBA season where he's played more than 50 games in his whole career. Going into like season number 5, which is crazy. Um, but that one season he was on NBA second team. He was almost averaged 30 points a game. He was a top 10 offense unto himself. He's 6'6", 300 pounds. He's absolutely unstoppable. Extremely athletic, extremely powerful. You just give him the ball, and it's like, big guys are too slow, and small guys are not big enough. So it's like there's really no like answer for him in the NBA. Like if you could put Giannis on him, maybe you have a chance. But other than that, it's like you put Jaren Jackson, who just won DPOY. I think Jaren Jackson even is probably too skinny. Like he probably just gets bullied,
Yeah.
which is
Or
crazy to
gets
say.
he already fouls him. Is probably what
And,
also
yeah,
what.
he already has foul trouble. Zion's not going to help, and it's hard to talk about Zion, of course, with all of the off court, his all the health problems he's had and stuff over the years. But talent alone, and that's kind of what we're going on. Talent and projecting.
Yeah.
I think he's easily a top 5 guy on this list, so I'd put him in the S tier. I think he's better than everybody else
Wow.
that we talked
So
about so far.
yeah, I will say this about Zion. So I've seen him play live twice. I've seen him play with the Pelicans twice, and both times I saw them play, no one could stop him. They were in the exact same play every time, and he just made it to the basket and laid it up every single time. He just pushes anyone out the way, like, and bullies them. I really, really hope that he can play a full season sometime soon, or at least, what's the new rule? Like to be considered for awards 60 games or more or
Yeah, it's
something.
like 60, 65, I think.
Yeah, so I really just want to see a full season with Zion, like, because I really like. I know that people were talking about trading him and everything, but I really like the I like what the Pelicans have and what they can do. If they're all healthy and play together, because when they do play, it is so tough to beat them. They have so many good players.
Right.
But I just hope health wise he stays. He plays, and that's what we're doing. And it's true. He is an S tier player. I just really, really, really want to see that on the court for a full season and postseason.
Yeah, I mean, you think about, like, I think we've talked about this a little bit before, and I talked about it in like the 30 for 30 episode I had a while ago. But it's like you think about CJ McCollum, Herbert Jones, Brandon Ingram, Zion, Valanciunas. Like that's a great starting five. And then
And
you
you got
have
Trey Murphy
Trey
off the
Murphy, Jose
bench.
Alvarado, like more guys off the bench. It's like that's a great team if everybody is there all the time.
A great starting lineup, evened out. You got spacing. You got defenders.
Like if you told
It's
me the whole Pelicans roster was healthy for the whole season and they finish as the 3 seed, I wouldn't be super surprised.
absolutely not. It'd be a great regular season team. And then, we love for Zion to get some postseason experience. He's been in the league enough. And that's what all this season, that's what I hope for. But S tier, he's basically unstoppable, as you mentioned. And just an overall like great basketball player for
Right.
sure. Next on the list is a guy who is not, going to be breaking news headlines, but he is in a new situation and a new team. Grant Williams, formerly of the Celtics, who's currently on the Dallas Mavericks. When I heard about the signing, I was quite happy with it, honestly.
Definitely something they needed.
Yeah, they lost Dorian Finney-Smith, and who else did they lose in that trade? I'm blanking. They lost some
The
depth.
Kyrie trade.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
lost
yeah.
Dinwiddie.
Dinwiddie.
Yeah, Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yeah, so they're missing a wing. They're missing a wing, and Grant
Yeah.
Williams is definitely a very good wing. He's young.
Yeah.
He is a really good defender. I mean, we saw him going head to head with Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. Like, I respect the hell out of him. I would be terrified to do that. So, respect to him for that. Can make his 3-point shots. Great defender. Doesn't create for himself, but you have Luka and Kyrie on the team, right? So like you don't need to worry about that.
Right.
It's tough. This is the first one that's kind of tough for me because I want to put him like
I know where you would have put him.
You're gonna say D tier?
No.
You're gonna say F tier?
Yeah.
It's tough only, and I'll. It's tough only because I feel like he can still prove himself, and I feel like this year he will.
What if we just for now can move these two guys up to the C tier
and then put him in D? Let's do that.
Just
I feel that because I do like Grant Will. I really like
because I feel like the ceiling on the other two guys is higher, right? Like
yeah. Grant Williams is going to be a role player. He's going to be a great role player. He's going to make his threes. He's going to defend.
He didn't even he got benched last season for some part of it and didn't start for a lot of it.
I know. I mean, on any other team, he's a starter. He's
a good player for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll. I know that we're like ranking starting power forwards, but I
feel
like
he will. I feel like he will start.
I mean, then might put Maxi Kleba.
That's a terrible idea. I think since they lost JaVale though, I think Maxi might run some backup 5 for them. He's 6'10". Yeah. He's he's a big guy.
Yeah, I know they were really trying out Derek Lively. Like they really want him to be the center. I know there were some concerns when I watched some preseason.
Somehow we'll have 6 years in a row of Dwight Powell being the starting center of the Mavericks. I don't know how that keeps happening. I can't. The center video. Spoilers. Dwight Powell's an F tier starting.
Dude, no. But I do support Grant Williams being a starter on the Mavericks. I think he would be great, and I'll
think you have to with Luka and Kyrie. You have to have somebody to guard the smaller guys.
You need defenders. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who do we say was a small forward for them? Tim Hardaway. Who's going to be the starting small forward?
I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely want some kind of defense, and Grant Williams will give you that. And he will, and he'll lead on the court, which is something I like about his play. Um, yeah. So what do you think, D tier?
Yeah, I think D tier is fine. I was looking back at our small forward video, and there's a picture of Luca in the F tier. I was like,
Oh, so I'm assuming Tim Hardaway Jr.
yeah, yeah, I would assume it's Tim Hardaway
Yeah,
because
because we definitely didn't put Luca in that
definitely
tier.
did do that. No, no,
Yeah,
no, 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 no.
yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
D
yeah,
tier is fine for now,
yeah. I agree. I'm excited to see what he does with the Mavericks, though. I like
for
him in the
sure.
Mavericks. Yeah.
All right, next, we have Patrick Williams of the Chicago Bulls. Really the young guy in their lineup. We had Javon, Levine, DeRozan. So now we have Pat Williams. Pat Williams is interesting because he was drafted fourth overall, which surprised a lot of people, I think, at the time. Because he didn't even start all the time in college. At Florida State, he sometimes came off the bench. So it was like the guy that didn't even start all the time in college is fourth overall. But they draft him for like his 3-and-D potential. And that he's done a lot of that so far in his career. I think, he is definitely younger. He's more of a project pick. Takes time to develop, and then the Bulls kind of, they signed DeRozan and tried to get Lonzo Ball in there, and they tried to win. They traded for Vucevic, so he kind of like was weird. It was like young guy that's a project, but in a team that's trying to win. So I don't think he's really had the chance to develop as much as he could have had on another younger rebuilding team. It's a little unfortunate. I think he's been fine. I don't think he's been great or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, I don't really see like I feel like the only time I thought he was going to grow, he got like injured for like half the season, um,
Yeah.
which really sucked.
And he
So
came, yeah, and then he came back and changed his number too, which confused me.
came back and changed his number because Vucevic was like, "I need my number, thank you."
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I think Vucevic actually paid him to change his number.
Wait, really? You think
Yeah, I think I
interesting.
listened to that somewhere. Um, yeah, I mean he's like, they called him the paw because I thought he was gonna be like a little Kawhi, like
Yeah.
defending wise or whatever, which I thought was weird. He hasn't been that, and I would put him in the D tier, I guess. I don't know. He's it's not great. It's
Yeah, it
he's
wouldn't
still
say
young. He can still develop.
yeah, you wouldn't say F tier?
Sure.
And only like okay, let me say my like
We
I like
hate the Bulls. Two FT players.
no, I like Patrick Williams a lot. I like what I've seen him play, but again, like you said, he is a project and he doesn't really fit this timeline the Bulls are trying to do right now. And I know he's in a lot of trade talks. Like if they do have trades, he's usually included. And I know he's kind of been untouchable, kind of like
Yeah.
when they talked about trades, which was a bit strange if they're in a win now. Um, situation. But I like his play a lot. I like his defense. His offense leaves room to be desired, but I feel like there's just not pieces. It's weird to say around him, but it's not about him. But he's not really complimenting everyone that's on this team right now. I'm looking at next year; it's the same team as last year.
Right.
So, you know, F tier only because of that. But he is a very good, and I mean, I'm still like He's not going to be Kawhi Leonard, but I think he could be a very good decent role player.
I feel like all of these episodes we like when we get to the F tier guys, we're like, I really like this guy,
We have to. I mean,
but
it's
he's in the F
true.
tier.
The only a few times we'll be like, yeah, F tier. Like I'm not. We're not even talking about it. Yep. It's funny because sometimes we'll put people we don't like B tier because he's good, but I mean, sometimes
Right.
his
Oh,
game is
there's a
like,
guy like that we're gonna talk about today.
yeah. No, I already know, but yeah, I think Patrick Williams at high F tier, maybe D tier. We'll move some things around, but I think that's a good analysis. The next guy I know you're a big fan of, I'll touch on a little bit. I'll let you take.
Talk to me.
But Evan Mobley for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Talk to me.
I know you were upset the Rockets didn't draft him. We got Jalen Green instead.
Yes.
But Evan Mobley has been very good so far in his career so far in the NBA. Has been a big reason why the Cavaliers have been as good before they got Spida, and now they have Donovan Mitchell. So now they're even better. Part of the twin pillars. You got Jared Allen on the team as well. I guess he's the center. The Evan Mobley could be center as well on a team. I could see
Yeah,
that.
in like a ideal situation, I would say he's probably the center, right?
Yeah. But Evan Mobley, really great player. His ceiling is still very high. He's very young. He's on a team that is going to get a lot of postseason experience too. This year, their Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be, they got some good signings, so they'll be a little bit better. I like his game a lot. He complements Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell very well. He can defend, which is good as well.
Mhm.
So my gut says B tier, because I think his ceiling is higher than the guys in C tier. But I want to hear your thoughts because you're very high on
Uh,
Evan Mobley.
I completely agree with you. I think Evan Mobley is awesome. I think his defense is awesome. He was third in DPOY last year, as a year two player, which is not, commonly heard of. I think his offensive game hasn't developed as much as the Cavs have probably wanted it, but it's a little hard because they have two ball dominant guards. So he doesn't really get a lot of chance to create. He's not a great shooter, which is why I said, um, ideally if they, got like, if I look at this list really quick, someone like, Kevin Durant is on here, obviously not Kevin Durant, but even like Dorian Finney-Smith, who we'll talk about later, who's like a more of a small forward, but kind of slides into that power forward role. And then Evan Mobley is the center, I think is probably like your ideal framework for that team because the
Yeah,
spacing with Mobley and Jared Allen's not amazing. Um, but no, he's great. He's a great interior defender, and I think something that's kind of underrated about his game is his footwork on the perimeter. Like he gets switched on to smaller guys, and he can kind of keep up with them. Like he's not getting crossed over or stepped back on too often. He can kind of stay with it, which I think is a really good asset to have in a bigger defender like that. Still young, still time to develop. I think the Cavs coming out of their disappointing playoff loss will come into this season like ready to go. Because the Knicks kind of punked them in the first round.
yeah,
So yeah, I think B tier because like you said, the ceiling is probably pretty high.
yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of high ceilings, this next player,
Let's get it.
number one overall pick, Team USA, I think, right? Wasn't he on the FIBA team?
He
Uh,
was on the FIBA team. He sure was.
Paolo Banchero of the Orlando Magic. I've talked to Dom about this. I think we've probably talked about this in the show. I saw the Rockets play the Magic, and I watched this guy just destroy the Rockets, and I was like, this guy is he looks like a grown man, and he was like 19 or whatever, and he's so like big, and strong, and has really good fundamentals and footwork and all that good stuff. I think I literally traded for him in our fantasy basketball league, like right after I watched it. I think I traded Jared Jackson for him. I said, give me Paolo. Actually, I want Paolo. Um, because I was like, this guy is crazy. But yeah, he is really good. I think he's going to take a big jump this year. I think he's going to have a lot of the primary ball responsibilities in Orlando, even though he's the power forward. I think he'll probably bring the ball up and stuff like that because that is, in his game. I think he's a good creator. I think defense leaves a little desired, but his offensive talent is certainly there. Definitely something you want to see from the guy you take number one. I would
Absolutely.
go. I would say B tier already. I think I'm already projecting the B tier jump.
I was seeing the same thing. And it's funny, and like now it kind of looks like the B tier is like these younger guys who have this potential, but they're also on teams
They're like
where
really good young guys.
they're really good young guys. Yeah. I watched a little bit of Paolo Banchero, and also he's surrounded by people who are going to make him better too, which doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
I'm very excited to see what the Magic do this year. I think for the first time in a while, I kind of want to watch the Magic.
yeah.
They're one of the teams I've never really been into ever. They just didn't really had anyone that interested me, but now they have quite a few players that I hear a lot about and enjoy watching. So excited to see what they do this year, and what Paolo will do too. But yeah, I think B tier is great for him, honestly.
Would you
Talking
put
about
him
another
in front or behind Evan Mobley?
I'd say behind,
Okay.
just because he is only has played 1 year,
Right.
but by no means do I think that's gonna be like it. Like I feel like they both
Oh yeah.
will, yeah, they're just gonna keep getting better.
Right.
And another guy, another young player who is just gonna, I think, keep getting better. Who was very fun to watch the summer league, Jabari Smith Jr. of the Houston Rockets. Um, he was somebody that I knew nothing about last year. We drafted him, and then I went to
We.
try to the Houston Rockets drafted him. Look, I'm from Galveston, so I'm going to say we, but we all
You know
know
the
where our
guy
loyalties
at the
lie.
Rocket stadiums. It's like Rockets fans. Rockets fans, stand up, Rockets fans. Let me hear you, Rockets fans.
Yeah,
Rockets fans.
that was me, dude. That was me. um, but okay, so the Rockets drafted him and saw him play quite a few games last year. Also saw him in summer league this year, and you know, in the games he did very well. He
It's a demon at summer league.
yeah. So during the regular season last year, he was good. He was very good. It took some while getting him used to NBA, but we saw him in summer league, and let me tell you, he looked like he shouldn't be on the court. He looked like he should be. Him and Tari Eason both were like they need to be. This is too little for them already.
Right.
He made incredible shots, made incredible plays,
Buzzer beater to win.
buzzer beater to win the first game of the summer league. He went up against James Wiseman, didn't back down from that challenge. Loved that.
That game was so fun to watch in person.
And we were so close too. And we were
Yeah.
sitting next to James Wiseman's family, I'm pretty sure, which was also fun. But Jabari Smith Jr. is someone I just cannot. I think he has a little bit of an attitude problem,
He
but
does. He definitely does.
yeah,
You're
but
absolutely right.
I think the older he gets, at least this is what I say for most players. Like I hope he, will kind of grow out of that. But we're just sticking to basketball. Talking about basketball. I'm very excited to see what he does, especially with this new Rockets roster. And I want to put him in C tier above Miles and John Collins.
That's
But
exactly what I was thinking.
this is why you're my
This is why
friend,
we have a
man.
podcast together.
This is why I scream in the microphone sometimes. But as a Rockets fan, I want to hear
Rockets
what you have to say.
fans.
Rockets fans, Rockets
Um,
fans.
yeah, I remember, going into this draft last year, I saw, most of the mock drafts had Jabari going 1 and Chet going 2 and then Paolo going 3. And I remember literally thinking, I don't want Paolo. I want Jabari. And the reason I thought that is because I knew Jabari was more of like a 3-and-D player in college, and our team consisted of like Kevin Porter and Jalen Green and Shingun, a bunch of guys that don't play any defense. So I was like, we really need the defense. And I remember actually one of the first games I watched, Jabari like held Giannis to like 13 points, played like really good defense on him. And I was like,
Nice.
awesome. But Paolo having like this already star level jump, I feel like has already made me look like a fool for wanting that. Because I do think he probably will be better than Jabari, but Jabari, he showed a lot of growth. His rookie year started off slow, and then he kind of ramped up over time. Um, and then I think the second half of the season was really good, and then
Yeah.
summer league was really good. So hopefully now he'll kind of continue that into year 2. I think it'll help. I think he kind of grew his creator ability a little bit. I think Jalen Green will have the ball a lot. I think Fred VanVleet will have the ball a lot. So I think he'll kind of develop his off-ball game as like a catch and shoot guy. Um, Maybe even like a pick and pop kind of Jalen Green, Jabari Smith. Maybe we can start seeing some of that. Because he's an excellent shooter, which is really good because at the 4, for the Rockets, at least, Shingun will be the only person that can't really shoot the ball super well. Everyone else in the court will be really good shooting wise. So yeah, I'm excited to see what year 2 has based on how last year ended and how summer league went. I am excited about our power forward rotation in general. Him and Tari Eason is like I love both of them so much. So
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm ready to see what it holds.
Yeah. No, I agree with everything you said. too. I am very excited to see what they do this year, especially with like the new players and new additions. So, yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be a fun year for the Rockets.
Yes.
You know who else is gonna be a fun year for?
The San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, and who's the starting power forward?
According to this picture, it's Jeremy Sohan, but I think it's actually going to be Wembanyama. So
Yeah.
should we do it as Wembanyama?
Let's do Wembanyama
I
because
think
they're gonna.
Sohan's probably going to come
Yeah,
off the bench. I think it's going to
yeah,
be Trey Jones, Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Wembanyama, Zach Collins. I think is supposed to be their starting five. They've talked about
yeah,
like Zach Collins starting with Victor. So
yeah.
we'll,
Which is what
we'll
they also did in the preseason game, right?
right,
Yeah,
right. So we use this picture of Jeremy Sohan, but just remember we're talking about Victor Wembanyama. Um, you've heard all about him, I'm sure. Most hype prospect since LeBron. Looked shaky a little bit in the summer league debut, but then I think he came out really good in the second game that we were at, which was awesome. And then this preseason game with Chet, I think he looked awesome. Of course, we're assuming health, which you always worry about with really, really tall guys. Um, but I think he will definitely come in and make an immediate impact. I think San Antonio will certainly try to feature him. And
yeah,
like I think like their game plan won't necessarily revolve around him, but I think they will try to make their game plan what they think will do best for him,
yeah,
like in his development, if that makes sense.
yeah. They're definitely not in like a winning stage
Yeah.
at all. So
But yeah, just based on like this year, I would say, first year, he'll probably start off a little slow because that's what rookies do in the NBA. I think people will be disappointed because there's so much hype that it's like, unless he comes out here and is like an all NBA player, people are gonna be like, he's not even LeBron James. What the heck? Um, so I'd say like, I don't know, the top of the D tier for now, just because he's a rookie, and I don't think he'll come out averaging, 20, 10, and 10 or anything like that. Like, I don't think he's gonna do anything super insane.
Yeah, I just don't think he's gonna have the impact that the maybe in the people in the C tier will have for their team.
Right.
Not that he won't have an impact. He just won't be, he is gonna be a rookie. Victor Wembanyama has like I don't want to say surprised me, but he has just a little bit in like seeing the play I have just because I really didn't I don't really buy into the hype. And I just see what I see on the court.
Right.
And Summer League was not impressed. Preseason a little bit more, and I know like San Antonio is going to give him a great chance. They're really great at developing players, going to give him a great opportunity and space to develop. So I think high D tier is great. And I can't wait to see where he ends up. Next year he might be A tier. Who knows?
Right. Yeah,
But
his
we're
range of
projecting.
outcomes is hard.
Insane. Yeah, it's very, very difficult. And the hype is no one can live up to that hype. So
No.
I agree that he'll probably start off slow, but he'll get his footing and it'll be exciting to see what happens. But yeah, high D tier. Next, we mentioned the OKC Thunder because that was a preseason game that they played. Next, we got I think it was runner-up rookie of the year.
That's right.
J-Dub Williams on the OKC Thunder. I remember. Do you remember the game we saw them play? Like he was pretty good. He was
Yeah.
really fun to watch.
He's
Shea
also
definitely stole
he's
the
also
show.
6'4", so
Yeah, I know. I when I saw his picture here, I was gonna ask, but I knew you vetted the list, so I was like, I guess because it's
he
gonna be
like because it's
Shea, Dort, Giddy,
yeah, exactly. Those are
and
like their
then
and then it's J Dub and then Chet, I guess. That's their
yeah,
like
that
their
is their
starting lineup.
talent level. Like, there's their five best players.
Right.
So I get
But
that they
he's
want.
like bulky. He's like big.
Yeah, he's a great defender too, and he is very athletic. I watched. I saw some really cool highlights from the preseason game against the Spurs. I'm excited to see what he's going to do his sophomore year. He's on a team that's also very interesting. The Thunder are going to be like pushing to make the playoffs, not just the play-in. When I'm looking at our list right now, I like what J-Dub can do, and I think this year he's going to prove himself a lot more than last year. So I'm thinking at the bottom of C tier.
Okay. I'm good with that.
But we might move him maybe to bottom, or not bottom of D tier, but like just because only reason why, like, maybe people might look at this and go like, you have him over Wemby. Well, this is he's 6'4". What is he gonna do?
Right.
He is. No one was talking about him, and then he made a name for himself last year, and I respect that so much. And I think he's only going to take that into the next year as
It's
well.
interesting too, because like he runner up for Rookie of the Year, and we have the Rookie of the Year right here, and then we have Jabari Smith, who was also in that rookie class above him. But I think that's just because we predict that the second year jump for Jabari will be more significant because he was a less developed prospect, whereas J-Dub kind of came in, I think, having most of his game probably already established.
Yeah, and this Thunder have Shea, who's going to really be like handling the ball a ton, and Jeff Chet, who's going to be doing his stuff, Giddy. So it's like I think Jabari is going to be more of a quote unquote like young leader for the
Right.
Rockets, whereas like J Dub is going to be
Like a role player.
a role player. Yeah, but
Yeah.
a very good one, obviously, because
Yeah.
I have him above Wimby and Grant Williams.
Right.
But yeah, that's how I feel about him. He was somebody, like I said, no one knew his name, so I respect that.
You know what college he went to?
I'm gonna just say Kansas, but I'm wrong.
Santa Clara. Steve Nash, baby. Uh,
Yeah, I knew that.
um, Next, we're going to talk about former Rockets legend PJ Tucker, who is going into his 82nd year in the NBA.
83rd, the
Oh,
83rd.
my bad. He shoots threes and like plays defense, quote unquote. It's really just like harassing the other player, I think. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's what it looks like. But I'm gonna keep it, yeah, short and simple. In terms of starting power forwards, F tier.
Yeah, it's and like PJ Tucker for what he is like he is good, but he is like we said, he's 84 years old.
It keeps
So
going up by one every time.
okay, 85. But it's just, in his prime, PJ Tucker was a very formidable defender,
Prime is like a
corner.
C tier player.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was a formidable defender, can make the three. He was pesky. He's just getting old. And I know the 76ers signed him on a contract that I thought was like a little bit of an overpay, but they wanted defenders around Embiid and people that can stretch the floor. And now he's just kind of there. He's just, and I honestly can't believe he's starting. When I'm looking at a Sixers team that wants to, push, try to win a championship, I'm like, is that your starting power forward? I mean,
Hey, the Bucks won a championship when he was on there.
but that was 2 years ago.
True.
And a lot happens in 2 years.
I'm looking at PJ Tucker's NBA thing.
Yeah.
So his rookie year, he was 21. He played 17 games on the Raptors. Okay.
Okay.
They didn't for 5 years. He played overseas immediately after his rookie year, and then he came back to the NBA. 27 years old for the Phoenix Suns,
Oh my God.
and ever since then has been racking up time here in the NBA.
Yeah,
Collecting shoes. He's quite the shoe collector.
I have also heard that. But yeah, I agree with you. Just he's not going to get better is the thing, right? So we're projecting.
We're projecting regression.
Yeah, and he's not the same player he was when the Bucks won the championship. He's just not.
Speaking of F tier starting power forwards,
you took the words right out of my mouth. This is why you're you're my friend. So Marcus Morris Sr. Okay, so I've seen I would put him F tier behind Patrick Williams.
better than old man PJ Tucker.
And the reason why is because I will say that. So I've been to many Clippers games, as I've mentioned, because the tickets are cheaper.
Yes.
And Marcus Morris Sr. always surprises me because
does he always start at the 4?
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw him on here and I was like, starter. Is he really their starting 4?
Yeah, he's usually the starter. Because they'll have like Paul George.
Paul George is at like the 2,
and then Kawhi at the 3, and then him at the 4, and then Zubac at the 5, and then I guess the 1 is Westbrook. So,
Westbrook.
So Marcus Morris Sr. He can make shots sometimes. He can make the 3. He can stretch the floor. Not a great defender.
He can make shots sometimes. I love that.
Because he surprises me I cannot tell you how many
Whoa,
times
he
I've
made
been
that one?
like,
That's crazy.
I can't tell you how many times I've been at a Clippers game and I was like, I can't believe you made that one. Just because it's just not something I think of when I like think him like um he is I think like a definition of a F tier power forward where he's
Absolutely.
like, yeah, like but he's always been that too. Like it's not like he was ever like he was never close to C. He was never a great defender, never. But he has earned a starting spot in the Clippers. I
He's
mean,
like, if he's a starting player, he's like your worst starting player.
yeah, and I mean he is on the Clippers for sure. So it's, um, I don't even know much more to say. He'll make the three sometimes, and when he
Sometimes.
doesn't, they take him off the court. That's basically it. Like I've seen it a million times. So
He causes kerfuffles with other players.
yeah, he has an attitude. And, so does his brother, his twin. Is he even in the NBA anymore? Markeith. Is he on the Heat?
I don't know.
Anyways,
Is
so
Markieff the one that got Jokic pushed and like
yeah,
broke his neck and then was done?
it looks like he broke. Yeah. That was his twin brother. Also a little an attitude problem, but an
Yeah.
NBA champion. Don't you forget with my
For the
Los
Lakers,
Angeles
right?
Lakers. Yeah,
Number
and
88.
but he was also a player. Markieff was also the player. I was like, he can make the shot sometimes. And I was like, he was literally the definition of that in the 2020 run. But yeah, I don't. There's nothing more to say about
Nah,
that.
no.
Definitely more to say about this next guy.
Next, somebody I don't know how long he is for the Pistons. Bojan
Yeah,
Bogdanovic. Definitely doesn't fit their timeline. A good veteran player to have though. Like, definitely somebody I want in my locker room. I think about his days in the Jazz when they were, kind of trying to be a contending team. I think he was really good for that team. He made lots of big shots in the playoffs. Kind of like when I was talking about the ideal like floor spacing for the Cavs earlier. Like this would be a guy I think. He's 6'7", 6'8", but kind of fits into that role.
yeah.
Um, it's hard to project because he's old. He's older. I actually need to look up his age because I have no idea how old he is. He's
I
in his
know
30s for sure.
it's so funny because he's always looked to me like he's 38, but he's been in the league. He's just always looked like that.
Yeah, so he's 34. So he's
Okay.
he's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
Um, I've talked about this in previous episodes where like his game is not predicated on athleticism. It's very like fundamental. It's shooting based stuff that doesn't really regress with age, I guess. Um, I think he's fine. I don't know how much time he'll get too. Like if he does stay on the Pistons, I don't know. Halfway through the season if he gets benched for some of the younger guys because they're going into tank mode and rebuild mode and they want to get those guys minutes.
Yeah.
Uh, Unless, if he's traded to like a contender, he could start for them. I do think he's better than these guys in the F tier. Um,
Oh yeah.
um, I'd probably slap him in the D tier. I don't know, like, is he better than Grant Williams? I don't know. Maybe.
I would say just because of his 3-point ability. And he has been so consistent over the years. I like Bojan Bogdanovic a lot. He's somebody that I wish would be on a contender because he's kind of just like he's sinking threes on a losing Pistons team,
Right.
and hopefully they trade him away so they can get some more young players. Plus, like you said, they have so many big men on the roster that I'm like they might try some four to Jalen Duren at the 4, Bagley at the 4, and just to try out, some things, and he'll just lose minutes. So I want to get a chance because when he was on the Jazz, he was very good, and but yeah, I kind of see the same thing. He's going to be the same player he's been for many years, which is very good at what he does.
Right.
I don't think he's going to be regressing like crazy, but because his game is not physical, like you said, it's fundamental, and he makes the 3. So, but yes, next guy is all about physicality.
All about it.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, S tier at the very top. Next, that's it. That's all. What can I say about Giannis? I mean, he just keeps getting better. This year, especially last year was contract,
Mhm.
hasn't signed an extension yet. So I
Very
really
adamant about that point.
very adamant. They got Damian Lillard, which is I think a great start for them. And they're gonna make a push this year for the championship. Hopefully, not get knocked out of the first round by an 8th seed. But what can I say about Giannis? Great basketball player, impossible to stop, great defender. He is what every team wants, you know, and top 5 basketball player, arguably in the NBA, in the current NBA.
Yeah, I would say top 3, maybe top 2.
Yeah, exactly. So, S tier. What can I say? If you don't know the name Giannis Antetokounmpo, you don't know basketball.
You
How
don't
about
know
that?
basketball.
You don't know basketball.
2 MVPs in a row, and then didn't get the MVP, but won the finals. And as a defensive player of the year, great 2-way game, great transition game, one man, unstoppable force. Yeah, not a ton to say about Giannis. You know, if you're listening to this, you probably like basketball, so you probably know who Giannis is, Greek freak, whatever. Yeah, S tier. Don't need to
Yeah,
spend a ton of time on it. I mean, yeah,
that's what I said. It's like
yeah.
we talked about Bogdanovich for like 6 minutes, and we're like, yeah, Giannis. S tier,
Yeah, that's S tier, whatever. Because
yeah.
I mean, he's going to be an All NBA first team player, probably.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
yeah, but he might be the East's coach again, or
the
for
captain.
the All-Star game, the captain.
I'm the captain.
But we got to talk about this next guy who is the best player in the West. Obviously, look at his contract.
The
You
best in
think
the
that.
West. Yeah. One of the more overpaid players now, Jeremy Grant, making a bazillion dollars a year for this
A bazillion and two.
and $2 a year for 5 years. It's just starting this year. So that's terrifying. I think he's making it all the way until his like age 34 season or something. So
Yeah.
that contract is gonna look really, really bad after a while. I think like uh ends at like 34 million or something like that, which is like not super terrible with the CBA going up because the CBA is going to go up and the cap's going to increase to like 200 million in the next couple of years. So it'll only be, like 15% or something like that of a contract.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, when you think about it that way, but you also think about the fact that this contract extension was given immediately. Dame requests a trade. Dame gets traded. Now they're rebuilding with Scoot and Anthony and Shaden, and they just have this super massively paid guy for the next 5 years, which I worry will handicap their ability
Yeah.
to trade for a star or something like that. And I think, if you were making a more reasonable contract, it'd be easier to ship him off to another team, like a contender that could use someone that does what he does. That being said, that's all about Jeremy Grant's contract, but his actual basketball ability, I think, is pretty good.
Yeah.
He played for the Thunder a long, long time ago, and then he was on the Nuggets when they were in the bubble. And
Yep.
he was really good for that, and they kind of replaced what he did with the next guy we'll talk about. And then he went to the Pistons because he wanted a bigger role. He had a couple of like 20-point per game seasons on a really, really bad Pistons team, so it didn't matter. And then he went to the Blazers because he got traded over there, and he was a complimentary role player. He had a couple, this last year, had a couple of games where it's like, oh, he really could be like the third best player on like a championship team.
Yeah.
He can create a little bit. He's a decent shooter. He's a pretty good defender. I
Yeah.
don't know, again, kind of like when we talked about for Bojan. Grant's younger. He's like 28, 29, but like how much will he play as the season progresses if the Blazers are just trying to develop their young guys and rebuild? I don't know. What his minutes will look like. Will they try to move him? I also don't know. But in terms of basketball ability, basketball playing, looking at this list, it's kind of difficult. I kind of want to plop him at like the bottom of the B tier, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Let me hear what you had to say.
Yeah. So Jeremy Grant as a player, I really like as a role player. He really impressed me in the Nuggets, and then Pistons. He got a bigger role, but if you're a diamond and a piece of shit, you're still a piece of shit. So I don't know why I thought of that, but I like the Pistons. I'm kidding, they're not pieces of shit. But
Dom hates the Pistons. That's gonna be the title of this episode.
I really like the Pistons too, which is messed up. But no, Jeremy Grant is a really good role player. He could be the third or fourth best player on a team, and on the Blazers, he probably will end up being that, if not lower now, because they just have some more talent with higher ceiling, I think. We're not going to talk about the contract. It's not about the contract. Do I wish he was on a different team? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But looking at this list, like, do I think Jeremy Grant will be better than Jabari Smith and John Collins? I think he's gonna have a bigger role. So, like, I think he has a better chance of being better. So I'm fine with that, and we might move some things around, but I'm okay with where he is right now.
Yeah.
And again, he is a player I like. I look forward to watching him play live when I see the Blazers play opening night. So
he's gonna drop like 50 and be like, I'm S tier, baby. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna come back like, Damon, we have to change it. Damon, it's gonna be you after you saw Paolo. I'm gonna be like, we messed up. We messed up, man. But yeah, so that's how I feel about that. This next player is someone you kind of shadowed to before, because he's released to the Nuggets, is Aaron Gordon. So Aaron Gordon was a player I never really cared for when he was on the Magic.
Because he was on the Magic.
Tom
hates the Magic. We know that. We know.
He hates
the Pistons and he hates the Magic.
I disregarded
and he
the
hates
Magic.
the Celtics.
Well, that we understand. No, but so Aaron Gordon has impressed me quite a bit on the Nuggets. He can defend a lot better than I thought, and I didn't know how he was going to do on a team where he wasn't one of the obvious best players, or like one of the top 2-3 players on the team, behind Jokic, Jamal Murray, and he has impressed me. I mean, he was a big part of the championship run last year, and also very athletic. Has some great highlight reel poster dunks. Also part of the best dunk contest in NBA history.
Absolutely,
arguably.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Don't come at me with 2000. I don't care. I don't care. Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon, 2016. Shut up. He should have won that dunk contest too.
Yeah, but he was on the Magic, so.
They said, sorry.
Sorry.
You're actually gonna lose 2 years in a row to this guy.
So, I like what he does a lot for the Nuggets, and I would probably put him in the same kind of right behind Jeremy Grant, maybe a little bit above Jeremy Grant, just because I think what he does is very good for the team. But like, what do you think? I feel like you want to put him higher.
Aaron Gordon is so interesting. Aaron Gordon is someone who I think completely changed the narrative of him, or the opinion of him, because he was just like, oh, it's just like a slashing wing that can dunk and stuff. Then he became this I think his best quality he contributed to the Nuggets, clutch time defense.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, he's guarding the best player on close possessions in the fourth quarter, whether it's a center or a point guard. Like, I feel like he would guard when they played the Heat, I think he probably had the Jimmy Butler assignment a majority of the time, and stuff like that. And that role is really important for a championship team. And you think about the rest of the Nuggets roster: Jokic, Murray, Porter. Those guys are mostly offensive. You need a guy to do the dirty work type stuff. And I think,
dude, KCP, what are you talking about?
Where's KCP? Where's KCP at? He's probably like a C tier.
Yeah,
if I had to guess, it's like he's Jeremy Grant but better.
Right.
He's like, he does what Jeremy Grant does, but he just did it for a team that won the championship, which makes me think he's a better player. And it's hard because you look at this tier we have here with Mobley and Paolo. Paolo especially is he's the guy on his team, whereas these other guys I think are very good role players for their team. Which maybe we can drop Grant down. I'd be okay with that. But yeah, I think
you could put him top of B tier if you want. If it's up to it's.
Yeah, I mean, this is fine. I think it's hard because this Paolo and Aaron Gordon's roles on their team are so different.
Yeah, and Nuggets are top 3 in the West, top 4.
Yeah.
And then Magic are maybe playing this year, maybe. So it's tough to
I look at the A tier. It's all those guys have made All-Star teams, or All NBA teams,
right?
Probably even more talented. So it's hard to move anybody even further up, I think.
Yeah.
But I do think all these guys And yeah, we can maybe move Grant down if you want, but like all these guys are probably better than these guys.
I'm fine with how it is right now, and then we can like move some things around in
Yeah.
a little bit.
Next, talk to me about your favorite basketball player, your favorite Laker of all time.
Mine is your
Yeah.
turn, brother, but I can do
Is
it.
it really? Oh, it is
Yeah.
my turn. You're right. Next we're gonna talk about Lakers,
My
Pelicans,
favorite,
Knicks legend, Dom's
my
favorite, Julius Randle. Another player like Aaron Gordon, and Jeremy Grant that I feel like really changed their perception and their role. Um, as a young guy in the Lakers, I know I want to say he like broke his leg like his rookie year, like something really bad. He had like a tragic
yeah.
injury. Um, and then he didn't play much for them. And then he got traded to the Pelicans, as a part of the AD trade. No, I think it was before that. I lied.
Okay,
It was definitely
I
before that.
don't know. Yeah.
He was on the Pelicans for like half a season, and he was an all-star. And then he signed to the Knicks, and people were like, "Oh, you overpaid him." And then he became like a certified all-star, all NBA guy.
Yeah.
And then he had a really bad season after that. And then last season he had like another all-star season. So he's kind of gone up and down. But I think he has definitely been a big reason that New York has been in the playoffs the last couple of years. From going, from like the Melo era. That was like the last time they were really relevant in the playoffs. Now it's like the Randall era, and of course now they have Jalen Brunson too, who
Right.
we've already talked about. But I think like looking at the tier list we have, Randall's interesting because the way he plays basketball is very like early thousands esque. He's like
Yeah.
bully ball, mid range. Like he can kind of shoot the three. He's definitely developed a little bit as a facilitator. His defense is a little below average, I would say. Um, but given his All NBA past, his All Star past, he's definitely a top two guy on the Knicks. I would say he's probably at the back of A tier.
Yeah. That's what I was just thinking. It seems like we kind of have these, we're starting to get some of these rows in a line, and
Yeah,
I think he matches in the A tier, but he definitely is like at the bottom of the A tier who's there right now. Julius Randle is, like you said, somebody I was surprised by, just all this narrative changes that he does. He has a really hard work ethic, which I respect very highly. He always is like the first in the gym, and goes like in I don't know if you know this story, but
let's hear it.
whenever he is playing an away game, like if they travel to Chicago, the first thing he does when they land is go to a court and practice. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is. Like it was something Kobe did, and Kobe told him that, so he continues that to this day.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I respect that. He definitely loves the game, and I like what he has made the Knicks relevant more or less again. And now they're even better with Jalen Brunson, like we mentioned, RJ Barrett, blah blah blah. So yeah, I want this season to be good for it. I want him to be an A tier season, because
Right.
he has had a C D tier season.
He's had some up and down to his game, so hopefully it stays in the
Definitely.
up.
Yeah, another player that I really want to have like a really good season this
Yeah,
year, and who has potential is the next player, Kristaps Porzingis.
new place.
New place. Um, I really liked him a lot on the Mavericks, and that didn't work out for obvious reasons. A lot of injuries that he's had to deal with. Low key, very good on the Wizards. Had a really
He
great
had a
year
really good
last
season.
year.
He had a really good year.
Yeah, a team that just wasn't relevant. So, Celtics got him, which was great for them, honestly. I watched a little bit of him in the preseason. He looks really well. Looks really good.
Does he still have the beard?
A little bit, yeah.
Bad choice.
Yeah, I
Not a
agree.
beard face.
Also, he's number 8, which I don't think
I
looks
mean,
good on him either.
you know who else was number 8 on the Celtics? Former All-Star of the Charlotte Hornets,
Yeah,
Kemba Walker. He was number 8
sure.
on the
Oh,
Celtics.
but that made sense for him. I don't know. He looked like a number 8,
Porzingis
whereas
wore number 6. Like
also
his
not a
numbers
good
are
one.
weird.
Yeah. Look. Anyways, basketball ability. Look, I
Number
I
tier
like
list F.
Yes, we should do that. That would be funny. I like his game a lot. He can stretch the floor. I guess I think the thing that he's just not super physical, but he should be and
Yeah,
he can be.
yeah. It's like
Um,
7'2", but can't block shots. It's like, what is going on?
exactly, which is wild. But just the fact that he is that tall and can stretch the floor and is a lob threat, and he's on a team with Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown. Don't really have a facilitator, but it's okay. We're talking about Porzingis, not the Celtics in general. I mean, I'm kind of high on him this year because he's also going to be in a new environment where he can
Winning.
show his talent. I say behind Julius Randle in A tier, but I want
Wow. Wow.
yeah
That high. Interesting.
yeah I because I'm just looking at like later in the list and I'm like I don't know who else is going to be that high. But I could see him having a really good year because I think at least if I was him, I had a really good year. This Wizards, no one talked about me. Now with the Celtics, I'm gonna make sure you talk about me.
Right.
I know he is on a team with like Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum, but he can and should be that third guy. If
Yeah.
not, like some nights that second guy.
Drew Holiday. Remember Drew Holiday? He exists on that team now.
Honestly, forgot. I'm still getting used to it. But okay, yeah, okay. I stand by what I said though about the facilitator
Sure.
thing but yeah, no, he has the ability to be like the second best player on the court. What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting looking at this because it's like, am I so high on Paolo that I could see him being better than Porzingis already? I don't know.
Oh, is it really? That's what you're thinking?
Yeah, and like Jeremy Grant and Aaron Gordon are kind of these like if you put Porzingis on the Nuggets, do they have as much success? And the answer is probably no. But I guess that's not really the question. It's more of an individual talent question. It's
Yeah,
like
that's
Aaron Gordon fits on the Nuggets more, in that role.
right.
So like it's difficult to evaluate, I guess. Yeah, and of course, we're assuming health again. Someone that's had a lot of injury history.
Exactly.
Last
Yeah.
year was relatively healthy and had like quietly maybe the best year of his career. So, yeah. Next, this one's easy.
Easy.
It's Kevin Durant. I don't care how old Kevin Durant is. Kevin Durant is gonna go right there,
I like
right
the
on the
little
S tier.
I like the little pause at F tier. That was funny. Absolutely.
Top
Yeah.
15 player of all time, elite scorer. Like I literally remember watching specifically the playoffs where he was in the Nets against the Bucks when the Bucks won the championship a couple of years ago. And I was like, there's no way the Nets are going to lose this series because I'm watching Kevin Durant just walk the ball up the floor, get in like the post on the corner, turn around and shoot like a fadeaway jumper over a guy that's jumping straight in the air and can't defend it, and he just drains it every time. And I'm like, I don't know what to do about this.
Every time. That game
6'11" guy that can just shoot over anybody when he chooses to.
that game I'll never forget. I remember where I was and where I watched that infamous shot with the
A toe
shoe
on
on
the
the
line.
line.
Oh
I'll
man,
never forget that game 7. But Kevin Durant, I mean, what more is there to say?
he's cool.
Phenomenal basketball player. You could talk about like the off court, like Thunder, Warriors, Nets drama, whatever. But yes, yes. But it's undeniable. S tier power forward for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
there's not a ton to say. His
yeah,
on-court
exactly.
basketball
That's what it
ability.
is, right? Yeah,
He's
it's proven
Kevin
himself.
bleeping Durant.
Yeah, he's proven himself.
His nickname
Um,
is KD. It's just his initials. That's how good he is. We don't even need to see his whole name. If we're talking about
I remember what was the Durantula was like the one thing is like you
Durantula.
don't even need anything that elaborate. Just say his name,
Yeah,
KD. Like LeBron. It's like their names. It's like that's
right.
KD, LeBron.
Yeah,
So next we got
he
another.
does suck for leaving the Thunder though.
Yeah, I mean that's another video. Next we got Nets Mavericks legend Dorian Finney-Smith. So I like Dorian Finney-Smith a lot. Great.
I feel like that's all you always start your things with. I like this player a lot,
I
and then
get
you put him in
lucky.
the F tier.
I get the players I like a lot. He's not F tier. I'll tell you that
He's
much.
not F tier.
He's not F tier. No way.
Lucas said it's like his favorite player he's ever played with. I think.
Dallas loved him.
Yeah.
Remember when I was talking? This is a really funny story, actually. When we were at the Through the Wire recording, and the woman next to me was talking about the
Oh
Mavericks,
yes,
and she was just
yes.
talking about how much they love Dorian Finney-Smith, and
She
she was
loves
like,
talking to you.
my mother was so upset when they traded him to the Nets, and I was just like, just like nodding.
First of all, you're 50.
Oh,
How old was
the
your
woman,
mother?
yeah. But
Um,
Dorian Finney-Smith, great 3-and-D player. He's on the Nets, so they will be trying to. I mean, they have no reason to tank, so they might as well like play and compete. I'd probably put him at like. Oh God, It's kind of. I'm looking at where everybody is right now, and I'm like, where does he exactly fit? I guess like C tier. But the thing is that like these
where in the C
guys,
tier?
but on the C tier, these guys are like higher options, and Jordan Finney-Smith is not like he's just like he's gonna catch and shoot the three. He's
Right.
not gonna be like he shouldn't be like your third best player in terms of like offensive ability. Like it really like he is just there
Yes.
to like make his
Yes.
shots. So whereas like these guys, I think are gonna play more of a role on their successes. So maybe like where do you say?
Um, let's plop him right there for now. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, just because like he is as good as he'll be. He really
Yeah.
is. Like he's very good, but he is as good as he will be. And J Dub might get better. I mean, I
I
I
want
don't
a
know.
Dorian
We could talk
Finney-Smith
about
Maverick jersey,
that would be a really good jersey.
the graffiti one, not that one. That one,
Yes.
not that.
No, I want the wings one with
The white one with the gold wings.
the gold
Oh
one.
my God, Mavericks have such bad jerseys.
God, they need to do better. I can't wait for the city jerseys.
Although the Nets are not much better with their like
The already ones are the one I did
yeah,
really
the
like.
art guy.
I forgot what they call it. The statement one, the blue, like that old blue. I have my blue
Oh
KDs.
yes, yes, yes,
I
yes.
like that jersey a lot. But yeah, Dorian Finney-Smith, great role player, makes his threes. Yeah, C tier. Now we're gonna talk
Um,
about your favorite player.
Next, my favorite player, one of my least favorite players, Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors. But as much as I've disliked Draymond, this kind of persona that he carries and stuff that he says, and I'm just like, whatever. Can't deny the contribution to a team that's won 4 championships over the last 8 years or whatever. Um, Third best player on all those teams behind Steph and Clay, pretty much. He's that, this has been a theme for power forwards, but he's kind of, their defensive anchor when their guards don't really have it. But he also adds facilitating, because Steph's a good passer, but he's not the facilitator because he does a lot of off-ball movement and stuff. That's kind of where he gets a lot of his looks. Draymond
Yeah.
runs a lot of the offense. Um, he's very vocal on court as well about his defensive communication, trying to make sure his guys are in the right place. A lot of stuff that you can't really measure through stats and stuff is how Draymond contributes to the winning that the Warriors have experienced over the course of their little dynasty. So I think if we're talking about glorified role players like Aaron Gordon, for example, I think Draymond is like probably the peak example of that. I think he probably stays there. So I just right in front of Aaron Gordon in the B tier.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. He's a player that before I got back into watching basketball, I just knew I didn't like him because I just saw a lot of the antics and what he said, and
I hate this guy.
yeah, just just some guys you just don't like their attitude, and he's somebody I don't think I'll ever like, but I gotta say I do respect his
I'll hate
basketball
you
playing
forever.
ability. His basketball playing, like the fact the way he plays defense and is as much as Steph is the face of the Warriors, Draymond is the kind of glue. Like without that kind of that
I
free
like that.
flowing, offensive and defensive ability, like the Warriors system doesn't work, you know. So yeah, I think that everything you said, he is the He is the only player that I'd be fine with having 0 points and like 12 rebounds. You know what I mean?
That's
Um,
totally a Draymond style line. Like
yeah,
12 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals.
yeah. Reminds me kind of a little bit of Dennis Rodman. Similar, like, yeah, I think Dennis Rodman had a game where he had like 20 rebounds and no points. But regardless, like, Draymond is a very good basketball player.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and next, who we're going to talk about is someone I just found out his name because I didn't recognize his face.
But you
And make
know who he is.
I know who Jarius Walker is. Yeah, yeah. We watched him a little bit at Summer League, just
Summer
a little
League.
bit. I think the Pacers are a great place for him. I actually, when we were talking about this before, I saw some projections that Obi Toppin would be the starting power
Mhm.
forward. So I don't know if you want to leave it Jarius Walker, you want to make it Obi, or you don't think it really matters because I kind of know where I want
Or
to put either of them. Really,
or will it be who's the other guy I'm thinking of?
Jalen Smith. Don't think I
Jalen
think.
Smith. That's what you said.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't think it'll be Jalen Smith.
yeah. I don't
I,
think so either.
I think, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. They drafted Jarris with the eighth pick, I think. I think Obi was the eighth pick for the Knicks like 3 years ago, and he never
Eight
got
or seven. Yeah, he
he
never.
never got
Yeah,
to start because Julius Randle became an all-star and whatever. They play the same position.
exactly.
Yeah, I think regardless of if it's Jarris or Obi, I feel like the tier will be similar. I feel like their play styles are a little different, but in terms of the value to their team and individual talent, I feel like it's right around the same place. What do you think?
Yeah, so I was just gonna put him behind Patrick Williams on F tier.
Ooh, F tier. You suck. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, where else? Like, I hope he surprises me, but it's like, we'll talk about Jarris Walker. He's a rookie. He is gonna have to get used to the league. Does he? He does not have near enough like Wimby's D tier. I'm not gonna put him in the same tier. He does not have that. Like, I don't see that for him.
right. Wemby's
Um,
gonna be a guy right away, whereas
yeah,
Jarris might, you know, be a role player for a long time with
right,
Tyrese and Miles Turner and all the other guys for sure.
exactly. Yeah, and I think he'll learn a lot and he'll have fun with it. And
Mhm.
yeah. Do you want to take the next one?
Yes. Vando, JV, V8, even though he's number 2 on the Lakers, right? Isn't he?
Wait, can I actually offer a switch? I'll do Vando if you want to do the next one because I know
Sure.
that's one of your favorite players.
Is it
So
okay? Is it Vando or is it gonna be Rui? Do you want to switch it?
I think it's gonna be Rui. I think it's gonna be Rui, but we'll leave it Jared Vanderbilt because that's the picture they have. They are a little bit different in their ability. I think Rui's getting paid more, so I think that's why he would start. Um, but I mean, so we talked about Jared Vanderbilt a little bit because of his contract he just signed with the Lakers.
Yes.
And I watched him a little bit in preseason, and I gotta say, like we talked a little bit about this. Like his defensive ability is great. He's gonna be on like your team's best player.
Yes.
But we were talking about a little bit if he could develop that 3-point shot, then it would really be,
Was he
a
breaking them?
threat. He made some.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
He was making some threes. I gotta say, like, I would say I think I saw him he probably made like 2 out of 5 or 6, something like that. So it's not like, crazy, but he made some.
Not lights
Didn't
out.
brick them, and it was preseason, but I saw some development was very still like tough on defense. So um I like Jerry Vanderbilt a lot. He is a phenomenal role player.
Already on his 4th NBA team.
Which is insane because he
He's
really is
23.
that good. And it just kind of worked out that way. Was it Wolves, Jazz,
I would be really surprised if he could name
Lakers?
his first team. He was on a
I
team
don't
before the Wolves, which
who
I didn't really know. He was on the Nuggets.
did not know that. Absolutely not. I mean
Highest he's
also
ever shot. Last year he shot 32% from 3 on 1 attempt a game.
yeah,
That is his career high.
because he just did not have that 3 ball. But I
Right.
know they're trying to develop that for him, especially on the Lakers when they need the 3.
Well,
But
yeah.
anyways, I think he is really, really good and good for the Lakers. He fits well around. You just need defenders,
Mhm.
and I'm looking at this list. I would probably put him at the end of C tier.
Okay.
I know it makes it a little uneven, but I'm okay with that. We could maybe move things around if we want to make it perfect. But what do you think? I know you like Jared Vanderbilt a lot too.
First of all, it won't be perfect because nobody else is going in the S tier. I think the S tier's done.
What about dude? Come on, Sadiq Bey. What the hell?
True.
Come
My
on.
bad. Yeah, like I was looking and in the C tier makes sense. I was also thinking like Wimby is kind of a hard case. I was also thinking here. Um, it's really just because like
You're right.
I think all of these guys have a better offensive game. Um, like much better. And like you think of Dorian Finney-Smith, who's at the end of the C tier, I think like the offense that he contributes it is more valuable than like how much worse his defense may be than Jared Vanderbilt. Because he's a good defender. I think Jared Vanderbilt might be an even better defender. Like Jared Vanderbilt's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
But it's like, it's kind of like Matisse Thybulle, like his offensive contribution is just not there yet.
right. I mean, but we put him D tier. I'm like, is he above Wimby? Have a better season than Wimby? I mean,
Yeah, that's hard. I don't know. That one's
that
hard.
is tough. But I don't mind putting him there because that was a very good point. That's why I put him at the end because he doesn't have the offensive upside that those guys have. But
You always want to put your Lakers players really high.
well, guess what? I watched
But I do
them the
love Jared
most.
Vanderbilt.
I
I like
watched them the most, so that's I would say I have the most knowledge of their play. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
So that's why it's a little bit easier for me to evaluate, and probably why I also kind of put him a little higher. But I'm okay with that because I could see Wimby like wanting to prove himself more. Jared Vanderbilt's going to do what he does best and defend really well, and maybe hopefully makes more than 32% of his threes. So
On more than one attempt. We'll
on more
see.
than one attempt. We'll see. We'll find out.
All right.
Um, yeah, we got four more. Four more.
Four more. We're in the stretch here. I'm gonna go K Love next. Kevin Love. Dom asked me a couple years ago, I think, for my top 5 players of all time, and I think Kevin Love was on there for some reason. And I think it was like I really liked him on the Cavs team, like that championship team. I liked his role he had. And I remember also watching his like he had like a 31-point quarter or something where he was just raining threes, and I was like, this is awesome. I don't actually know if I like Kevin Love that much. I do think an underrated part of his game that people started to notice last year is his playmaking.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, he had a lot of like they score, he takes the ball and throws it all the way down the court for like a easy layup, which I think is really good for teams like the Heat because their half court offense is not always the best. So when you can get easy buckets like that, you take it. He's always been a really good rebounder. Not a great defender, especially in his old age,
Yeah.
because he is up there in age now. Um, decent shooter, but his age, his contribution to this Heat team, I think like he'll have to do more than he probably should because they just don't have a lot of players. Um, but I think like much as I love Kevin Love, I think I put him like right here in that tier because he's really old now, and I just don't see him having like a season like a Grant Williams could have up here in the D tier.
Yeah. I mean,
I just don't
Kevin
think
Love.
he's there. Like prime Kevin Love, we're talking A tier, but like
Yeah,
this is
literally.
38-year-old Kevin Love or whatever.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. Like he was an A tier player at one point in his career, but now this is just where it is, and that's okay. Like that's just what happens. And he
Like
is like
he shouldn't be starting for your team,
he
probably.
shouldn't. Yeah, yeah. He should be more a locker room guy. He should be the Udonis Haslam now for the Heat. Um, but a little bit better. But yeah, I totally agree with you. He just is upside. He's just not going to be better. You
He's
know.
actually only 35. I kind of overestimated his age. I thought he was a lot older than that. He moves like he's 40, so
He does not move like he used to. And well, opposite of that, there's a young guy we got next, and he's your guy too. Because I took two.
you took two?
I took two in a row.
Oh. Uh I know really it's because you want to talk about the guy after this. Uh, uh
Yeah, yeah, you know I do.
but yes, Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray, not Chris Murray, not to confuse him with his Blazers twin brother. Keegan Murray had a really good rookie season for the Kings. They finished as a 3 seed. He ended up being a starter for that team. He's probably going to start again this year. Obviously, that's why he's on here. 3-D, is kind of his thing. I think he got to create a little more as the year went on. I think a lot of people were kind of surprised with how good he ended up being. And yeah, I think like I look at the tier list we have here. I kind of want to put him like this is hard. I kind of want to put him like here, somewhere in like the C tier. I don't know where though.
Um,
Da, 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 da.
yeah, it's tough because he like his three making ability and what he did for the Kings was like a big part of why they were like
It's like, is he
pretty
not better?
successful.
Is he gonna be better than Jabari? I don't know. Jabari had a really good
I
summer.
don't I don't think he'll be better than Jabari. I will say that.
Is he gonna be?
I think he will probably have a better season than Miles Bridges and John Collins. I kind of want to move J Dub up to like past them two just because like I feel like he's going to be have a more important role than the other
Mhm.
two. Um but yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, great 3-point shooter and like I said, like he helped the Kings get to where they were and will continue to. So definitely lucky to have a young guy like him. Let's talk about the real MVP of the NBA, and
Let's talk
that's
about our last S tier
our
player.
last S tier player, Kyle Kuzma.
Who's
Washington Wizards, who just signed another contract with the Wizards. Will probably ball out this year, so he can get traded to a contender.
he does not want to be there.
Yeah, and I mean, but it's going to be fun is that the Wizards have these players that are just going to be like throwing up. They're going to be a fun offensive team to just be throwing it up. They're going to have no method to the chaos.
Oh yeah,
Tyus Jones is going to try, and no
that'd be a
one's going to
disaster.
listen. Yeah. But Kyle Kuzma, being like on the Lakers, like watching quite a bit, was such a hot and cold player. Really, like he would make all of his shots or make none of them. Um, and I know
But
the
that
Lakers,
boy have the confidence to shoot him,
he sure did. And the Lakers kept him around for a long time when everyone else was traded and everything. He stuck around the longest.
and
And
then was traded.
I mean, his nickname was the boy who lived. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wait, shut up, Kyle Kuzma. Shut up.
I don't think he said that. I think Lakers fans called him that because he's like the last one that was there with like Lonzo, Brandon Ingram,
Right.
Julius Randle. Um, so Kyle Kuzma is also, they don't talk about it, pretty good defender.
Sure.
When he wants to be. Um, but like I kind of want to put him like maybe behind Wimby.
On the D tier?
Yeah, I guess I want my initial thought is C, but I'm like, you know what? I do like put Laker old like people like I've watched a lot more higher. And the thing is, like, I think he has potential, but I just don't think he's going to be like trying as hard because he's not on a contender. He might have a good stat line, but I don't think he's going to be like a, you know what I mean, a good basketball player.
Can I show you where I wanted to put Kuzma?
Yeah.
I wanted to put him here. So now I'm conflicted.
Ooh. Okay, tell me why.
I like, just like we talked about Porzingis earlier, I think like his last couple seasons have been kind of under the radar because it's on the Wizards and it's like no one pays attention to them. Um, I think he has the capability like a Jeremy Grant in Detroit on this bad Wizards team to be like their lead scorer, their lead guy. And I think you mix that with the defensive capability you talked about. I think he can have a very good season, even if it's not for a great team.
Yeah.
And I think, even when he was on the Lakers, I think he provided like a nice spark plug off the bench with his offense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like it's
Look,
weird.
I'm fine. I'm fine with that because like I kind of put Porzingis like high, so I understand. I understand this argument for wanting to put him
Right.
like up there. And like the thing is, could I see him have a B tier season? Yes. Do I personally think it will happen? Me, maybe not. But the thing is, me, the man I'm pointing at. But the thing is like we're projecting and I could see it. So
Right.
yeah. But I mean, let's talk now. We're really talking about the last S tier player. Come on.
The last guy. The last guy. As it's past midnight now, it's technically Wednesday for me. Sadiq Bey. I like Sadiq Bey. When Detroit traded him in this like weird trade where he like went to the Warriors for a second and then the Warriors were like, I actually want to want you, and he went to the Hawks. I was really confused because I thought he was really good for that team.
Yeah.
Their big man rotation right now is like Jalen Duren, James Wiseman, Marvin Bagley, and somebody I'm forgetting.
Isaiah Stewart.
Isaiah Stewart, thank you. All basically play like centers. None of them can floor space. And Sadiq Bey is that guy. He's like 6'7", 6'8", but he can shoot. He can shoot really well. And I feel like he would have been perfect in that role for them. So when they traded him, I was really confused. I think he's pretty talented. I think his NBA career so far has been pretty consistent. I think he's a big reason why the Hawks decided to trade John Collins because they had him. They're like, actually, if this guy, we don't need John Collins anymore. We can just start Sadiq Bey. I look here in the tier list, and I don't know. I think Sadiq Bey is pretty good. I don't know if he'll be as good as these C tier players, though, which makes me
Yeah.
want to put him right above Vanderbilt. That's where my little brain goes.
I was thinking the same thing.
Um, and I really like I think I like Sadiq Bey more than half of these C tier players, but I just don't know with his because he's going to be like the fourth or fifth option on the Hawks. How much
Literally.
opportunity he'll get because it's Trae Young, it's DeJounte, and then even DeAndre Hunter's probably above him, and then even like Clint Capella's not going to be above him, but Clint Capella's going to get lobs and stuff like that. Like he's going to
Yeah.
just get points just based on his role. Whereas Sadiq Bey, I think, is going to be kind of that fifth starter. He's going to spot up in the corner. He's going to get open threes and play like
Yeah.
okay defense, and that's going to be like his
Yeah.
season.
No, I totally agree. From when I saw Sadiq Bey, I mean, he had buzzer beater winners on the Pistons.
Yeah.
So I was a little confused about that trade as well. But I think he fits very well on the Hawks, like you said, with with them having him and only John Collins. And if Sadiq Bey does his job well, no one really should be talking about him. He should just be being on the floor and, like I said, making the shots when he gets them and then playing okay defense. So I think that's like a good place for him right there.
Something we
Have
didn't
we
do this
done it?
episode is we didn't have a
Recap.
recap.
I know, and I
Recap.
purposefully didn't because I think I think I just bogged it down. If you're listening and you want to look at it, look at the screen.
Come to the YouTube channel. Stop
Do it.
stop listening on Spotify. Stop.
Actually, on Spotify, you could watch the video now too.
Oh, that's true. I do upload the videos to Spotify. I've never watched a podcast on Spotify, so I have no
I
idea
have
how that works.
I have, and I like that. So
Yeah,
so
you
thank
can
you,
see our
Damon,
lovely faces, our lovely mugs,
and our shirts, our
and our
reveals.
shirts, our shirt reveals. It got hot, I guess, at Dom's place. The jacket
Oh,
went away eventually.
someone's cooking downstairs.
It is super hot in my room because this is my office with my bearded dragon who has to stay warm, so like the fan can't be on in here. So
yeah, so we're cooking. But you know what else is cooking? This tier list.
this tier list is cooking.
Cooking.
Let's is there anything you want to move before we do our tier list recap? Or
I'm looking at it, and I really think it is pretty solid.
yeah,
Everyone is kind of where I think.
it actually ended up relatively even. I wasn't trying to do that.
Yeah,
It
I
just kind of
agree.
happened, and like
It's a natural. It's a little natural bell curve, but it's not like
the
too
old
overloaded.
natural bell curve.
It's not bloated or anything.
Yeah.
So it ended up S tier. Obviously Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant, and Zion Williamson.
Yeah.
You want to go A tier?
Yeah. Are we switching? Is that how we're doing it? That's
Yeah, sure. Let's try it. Yeah.
And again, we, subject to opinion, we try to put them in order in the tier. So like the first name you hear is like theoretically the best guy in that tier, but there may be spots you disagree with. That's okay. Yeah. But yes, A tier we have Jaren Jackson Jr., Karl Anthony Towns, Pascal Siakam, Julius Randle, and Kristaps Porzingis.
B tier starts with Evan Mobley, Paolo Banchero, Draymond Green, Aaron Gordon, Jeremy Grant, and Kyle Kuzma.
In C tier, we have former Rockets Hall of Famer. I mean, future Rockets Hall of Famer. That's what I meant to say.
Former.
Jabari Smith Jr., Keegan Murray, Jalen Williams, J Dub, Miles Bridges, John Collins, and Dorian Finney-Smith.
Opening up the D tier, we have future Lakers Hall of Famer Victor Wembanyama,
A picture of
Sadiq
Jeremy
Bey, Sadiq Bey, Jared Vanderbilt, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Grant Williams.
And then finally wrapping up our F tier, again, not F tier players, but in terms of starting power forwards,
S
probably
tier in
not the
our
guys you
hearts.
want. S tier in our hearts. Patrick Williams, Jarris Walker, Kevin Love, Marcus Morris Sr., and PJ Tucker.
Wow.
Save it. Count it.
And that's another tier list done. We got one more. We got one more. We gotta do centers. I thought what is interesting about this one is that there was no more than 3 S tier players. Every other one we had 5 S tiers every time. That was interesting, but I stand by it for sure.
How did I do this? How do I wanted to download this. Oh,
Download image.
there we go.
And there it is. That's how you do it.
I saved the tier. I don't care about this. I just wanted the picture of it so we can come back and see how wrong we were later.
Or how it's gonna be wrong. It's gonna be wrong.
It's always wrong.
Marcus Morris Sr. is gonna be the MVP. I want to be eating my own words. He's gonna make all of his shots this year. It's gonna be terrible.
Not just some of the shots, like you said.
Yeah, all of them.
I'm trying to figure out how to not share my screen anymore, and it's too hard for me.
It's at the top. You have to hover.
Why is it on this? It's on my other monitor. It was on my other monitor. I figured it out, guys. I swear I've computered before.
Hey, I don't know if you guys watch the video so we can all laugh at Damon. I'm kidding.
Laugh at me.
No, we all support each other. We all love each other and support each other here.
Speaking of love and support, say it. I wanted you to say it. That's why I stopped. Like, subscribe, comment. I'll say it.
Speaking of support, like and subscribe so you can hear me scream more at random intervals. Share with your friends.
We're doing centers.
You gotta be here next time. Yeah, because there's gonna be a hot potato. I know that much.
What does that mean?
It's gonna be
I know what Dom's wearing to the podcast. Oh, I know.
I wonder what.
He already said it in this episode. If you're listening,
don't go back and then guess what shirt.
Guess in the comments
I might wear.
What jersey Dom's gonna wear. We say like the YouTube video. Give us 5 stars on Spotify. Comment on the YouTube video. Subscribe. Download. Share. None of that happens. We have no likes, no comments. It's just views. It's just the views. So I don't know if people actually listen to that part or if they actually listen. I just don't know if they like.
They skip ahead to the ads. They're like, "We want the ads." I was like, "Don't worry,
there's no ads.
Don't worry, we're gonna get there.
We don't have any ads yet.
We're gonna get there.
We need. I think on Spotify it's 60 monthly listeners, and then I can just put ads in for like nothing. Basically, Spotify just puts ads in. So.
Okay, we're gonna get there, guys. Don't
60.
worry.
Come on, help us grow. Share with your loved ones.
Grow.
Share with your children.
Share with them. But regardless, that felt good. We will release another episode soon with the centers. Cover any more news that might happen. Season starting soon. Very exciting. And we're gonna let Damon take the shot.
The shot. If you don't know what the shot is, go back and watch it. I made this twice already. Twice in the first 9 episodes, I think. 8 episodes.
He's lying. He's lying.
I think it was the first 8 episodes. I made it twice, which is crazy. And both times you look so mad at me.
I was really happy for you.
Hate me for making it. We got to get Dom a setup so he can do it too at some point.
Yeah. Here we go. All right.
That was not even close.
It's okay.
The power was pretty on, but the accuracy was way off.
Sorry, it's because your arm didn't cover the hoop. That's why.
I was trying not to.
I know.
Trying not to. So I just threw it over there instead. That was terrible. I actually showed a student a clip because I was like, "Oh, I made this backwards," and they're like, "No, you didn't." And I was like, "I have a video of it."
Oh my god! And I have a podcast. Listen to it.
And I have a podcast. I never will tell them what it is. I never want to listen to it.
Yeah, but
Because that's a boundary.
yeah, no, I totally understand. But thanks again for joining us and listening. We look forward to discussing more hoops next time. And this has been another episode of
I didn't even hear that.
D
I didn't even register.
and D's two-man game.
Buckets.